What's up, fish gang? Welcome to Monster Fish Only, aka Mofo Fish, where we talk about monster fish and monster tanks. I'm your host, Phil Thomas, aka OGP, and today we're bringing you our very first episode, and we're covering my all-time favorite fish in the hobby, the Oscar fish, the big old. DJ ran the intro.
Hey, fish gang, you know we come alive from the fish tank. Don't be getting mad cause your fish lame. Yeah, every time you hit I do a water change. Fish gang, you know we come alive from the fish tank. Don't be getting mad cause your fish lame. Yeah, every time you hit I do a water change. Water change, 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 water change. I really got a jag in a red tail. Fish game smooth like Denzel. Your boyfriend soft like Ace.
Alright, let's dive in. But before we do that, let's go over a few things. First of all, why am I doing this? So I've learned a lot over the years in the hobby, and it mostly came from watching other people in the hobby, trial and error, and a little bit of success. And I love gathering the information, I love doing the research, and overall just enjoy the process. So I want to share what I've learned and hopefully inspire other people to keep fish and other fish keepers to be the best fish keepers that they can be. Second, fish channels can be a little bit boring sometimes, you know. So I wanted to create a fun, entertaining, and informational YouTube channel that kind of stems out of the usual monotonous home video stuff. Yes, a lot of fish keepers are nerds. It is what it is. And they're usually a little bit older. However, this does not mean that everything has to be so uptight when it comes to fish keeping. We can enjoy it. We can enjoy it. So let's enjoy it. And lastly, it's straight up for fun. I too enjoy watching YouTube videos. And when I got to the point that I was naming the fish and all of the things that they're supposed to be doing, and talking about things before the YouTuber could even finish explaining the video, I realized something. I might need to be teaching what the hell I know to y'all. For y'all. Not for me. For y'all. For y'all. So, a quick background about me. If you care. Because you do. Because I'm awesome. Anyways, quick background about me and why you should be listening to me is a better thing to say. I've been keeping monster fish for a little bit over 9 years. And like most people in the hobby, I started out with a much smaller fish. Then I naturally progressed to larger fish. The first monster fish being Oscar fish. This guy specifically. And at the time, I did zero research. I skipped my happy ass into a PetSmart and I slapped that guy you see behind you in a 29-gallon tank. And it wasn't good for anybody. It wasn't good for me. It wasn't good for him. But his name is Guillermo, aka Big G. He's currently inside of a 75-gallon tank, and he loves it there. He loves it. He loves it. He just loves it. But before we dive into the next segment, just gonna say if you like what you're seeing so far and you're enjoying what you're seeing and you like the channel and blah blah blah, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Like, do it right now. Right now. Click. Oh, and I should add in that every time you hit a like button or comment something positive or subscribe to somebody's channel, your fish live a little bit longer. It's true. That's science. That's science-based evidence. That's science. So there's some stuff down there that you can go ahead and just, it's convenient. I mean, you can go to another video and do it, but, this one, I guess would be the easiest. Now, if there's any millennials watching, it's super easy for you. You can just, barely do it, and it'll still give you a gold star for it. I mean, I'm a millennial too, so I'm speaking to myself. I need to probably subscribe to my own video. Who am I? Alright, so now that we're done with all the shenanigans, let's dive in. Let's talk about some fish, because that's what we all came here for, right? Right. So, quick background about the fish. It is indigenous to South America. They are pretty much found in the Amazon River, and they also can be found in Brazil and Ecuador and places like that. So unfortunately, there is a very large population now in North America and China because people are irresponsible when it comes to fish keeping. They get this big, inside of a little 20-gallon tank, and they're like, holy crap, this is way too big, and it starts eating up all their other little, minnows and guppies and all the stupid little fish they keep in there, and they say, I don't want this anymore, and they have to just go throw them in a lake. And unfortunately, that's just not good for the fish because it's a domestic pet. I don't care what anybody says. Once you purchase it from a store and bring it home and provide for it, it's domestic, regardless of anything else. So when you go throw it out there into the wild, now it has to try to live a life that it just, wasn't raised to live. But you're not going to do that because you're here watching our video wanting to know, hey, is this fish for me? And I'm going to have that questionnaire at the end of this video. So you're welcome. Temperament. These guys can be moody. I'm not going to say mean. They can be a little bit, aggressive, as people would like to say. For me, I would say no. I've kept some aggressive fish in my life. I got some aggressive fish now. These guys ain't aggressive. They can be a little bit moody, like I said. They'll kind of pick on some other fish and stuff like that, but they're not going to be aggressive. I've kept some dove eyes. I've kept some red terrors, okay? Some green terrors, them fools. Red devils, them fools, they are aggressive, relentless. These guys, not so much. And honestly, it also depends on the fish too. Fish do have personalities. If you don't believe it, keep a few different ones and then just kind of watch how they behave. True. It shocked me too when I first found out. So there you go. You got information now. Big G specifically, he was raised pretty much by himself in that tank. I tried to mix and match him with a couple other fish in the past, and it just didn't work. So if you're gonna try to keep them with other fish, you need to do that early. Get them as juveniles. I wouldn't say anything past 5 months. If they've been inside of a tank for about 5-6 months by themselves, don't try to mix them with anything else. It's just too much of a risk, and it's not gonna be healthy. What do I do now? Color patterns, they come in a whole bunch of colors. I'm not going to go through all that. I would just say hop in the old Google. My personal favorite is the albino red, a ton. That's one of the reasons why I personally really love the fish. And they also can change colors too. Guillermo gets all pissed off. He turns into a bright white. I know it sounds crazy because you're looking at that fish and saying, Phil, that's a dark fish right there. You ain't seen him when he's cranky, because they get crazy and they do change colors. But also he changes colors when he's happy too. So he goes from green to black to gray. I mean, it is what it is. Usually though, when he's that nice solid jet black like you see behind him, that means he's in a very good mood. Lifespan. They're supposed to be able to live, about 20 years. Honestly, you're probably going to get 10 to 15 out of it if you're doing everything you're supposed to do. 20 is probably the anomaly. I would love for, the fish to live the longest, but, again, you just have to keep in mind that when you're doing an average, there's always going to be something, very, grandiose, and there's also going to be something very minute. And then somewhere in between that, that's where you find what you should probably expect. Size is going to be in that same category. There's records, of people saying these fish can get to 18 inches. I've never seen that fish in particular, but I have seen some around the 15, 16 inch. So I know that they can get quite large. I've never been to the Amazon, but maybe some, people out there that go fishing and doing all that stuff out that way, maybe they found some, fish and they just never documented it. But that's going to be for them to do. So, they could get that large. Big G specifically is probably around the 14 inches. I haven't taken them out and measured them. It's just a lot of fuss and a lot of hullabaloo to be dealing with all that, and I don't want to disrupt him and disrupt his life like that and stress him out. So I ain't really done it in a while. But he originally was inside of a 55 for like the first 3 or 4 years of his life. Don't judge me. It is what it is. I wasn't, very informed, and I didn't have a whole bunch of money to be shoveling out. So 55 was the best I could do at the time, and he did all right. And once I popped him over here into the 75, after a little bit of time, he grew a little bit more. Let's talk about the diet. So they're not picky eaters at all, except for mine specifically. I have a whole 125 on the other side of the room. It's got 5 that are almost at sexual maturity. They're not quite, fully there yet. Some are 6 inches, some are about 8 inches. They're all still fairly young, but those guys will tear it up. Don't matter what you put in there, they're gonna eat it. It doesn't matter. I've got a couple growing out here in my 90-gallon over here to the left, and those guys eat whatever. It doesn't matter. Any fish food you drop in there, they're gonna tear it up. But if you get somebody picky like Big G, as I told you before, they can be moody. You're gonna be looking at a fish that's gonna be a pain in the fins, for sure. He would not eat pellets, he would not eat flakes, he wouldn't eat the cichlid sticks. He would hate it. He would just put it in his mouth and he'd spit it back out, and it would just sit there. And I'd have to come in and scoop it out later. The only thing that he actually would eat, and this is up until he was about 4 years old, was Wardley's sinking pellets. Comes in like a little orange can. You can get it any fish store, pretty much Walmart. You can find it on Amazon. So if you got a really picky fish that's not really one to eat, try that out. It might work. I don't know. But that's the only thing that he would eat. And he got pretty big on it. So, and the only reason why I was able to get him off of that and get him onto Cichlid Gold in the reg pack was because I tried to mix him in with a couple other fish, and he was so competitive for that food, and just has a very dominant personality that he just was wanting to just take it from everybody. He was just trying to bully everybody, just saying that's mine, and the other fish would just kind of hang out in the in the filters, and they would just eat all the stuff that came out of his gills, and that's just pretty much how it was. He just was like a big king in there. I mean, it is what it is. Covering the minimum tank size, you're gonna read online and it's gonna tell you a 55. I'm telling you from experience, 55 is just not big enough. You could probably get away with it for 2, 3, 4 years maybe, but it's just not big enough. From front to back, it's only like 12.5 inches, and again, like with cover, these fish can get easily up to the 14-inch mark easily, as long as you're doing your water changes and got a healthy staple diet of cichlid foods and stuff like that. It is what it is. Also, you can mix in some crayfish. These guys are nuts for crayfish. Just be careful and monitor where you're getting your live food from, because they can carry diseases, and that could transfer over into your into your fish, and nobody wants that. Nobody. But again, sticking to that minimum tank size, like I said, you probably get away with it for a little while, but you're gonna want to do at least a 75 at least. He just swims around a lot more inside there. He's got a lot more activity. He's a lot happier there. It's just 75 is probably going to be the bare minimum you're going to want to keep those fish at. So, and again, in the spirit of being completely transparent with you guys, because that's what friends do, right? I've kept 3 or 4 of them inside of a 75-gallon tank. I know, I've done it, and they were fine. They did fine in there. Everything was fine, and I'm talking about adult Oscars. They were fine. Granted, it was like quadruple filtered.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
We had We were on top of our water changes. I was doing water changes like once every 3 or 4 days.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I was testing the water, making sure that everything was good to go. So it is what it is. And I know that there's going to be some people in the comments that are going to say, on a side note, you know, I can see you guys in the comments right now, man. All you haters, man. All you haters, man. Just know, every time you hate, I do a water change. Just so you helping us. You helping us. But I can see you guys in the comments right now, man. Like, this is why I brought a computer. To be angry about YouTube videos made by strangers on the internet. Karen, get in here now. Karen, help me hate on this guy. Karen! Right along. Moving right along. Tank setup. I would keep it simple. Don't put a bunch of big, heavy things inside of the tank. Don't put a bunch of driftwood. You know, don't put in a whole bunch of like giant ships with sharp objects and things like that. Don't do some crazy landscaping idea with these guys. That's not for them. These guys need a lot of room to swim around. They're very clumsy. They're not very agile creatures. You know, they're not graceful at all. You know, they're like the offensive linemen of fish keeping. You know what I mean? So you have to have a special place for them to do anything. But give them plenty of space, and just know that they're going to move everything around inside the tank that you put inside there. They're going to move it. I mean, as you can see here, there's a skull sitting there. Obviously, it was not sitting on its side. All those rocks you see behind you were in a perfectly straight line, and that dude back there didn't like it like that. He wanted it to look like this. And every time I've tried to fix it, he puts it back like this. So guess what it's about to do? It's gonna stay like this. Okay? It's his world. I'm just out here living in it, you know, so it is what it is. Compatibility. So we kind of covered it and kind of hinted on it a little bit. You know, you're going to want to try to do that early on in their life, but if you really want to keep them with something, other Oscar fish have always worked out pretty well for me. They'll box each other a little bit. They'll kind of, you know, nudge and fight a little bit, but the fish are going to do that. That's them kind of, you know, establishing a pecking order, or, you know, it could be them saying, hey, I like you and we gonna do stuff, you know. It's like a little, hey girl, yeah, oh, okay, I'll see you over there, what's your name is? And they express it by domestic violence. So that's how they mate. They beat the hell out of each other, and then they make a little circle in the dirt, and the girl lays some eggs there, and then the guy fertilizes them, and then that's love for them. It's love. It's that a good heart? It's love.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you.
Last thing, you're gonna want to get some really good filtration on your tank. These guys are messy. They're messy eaters. They produce a lot of waste. It is what it is. You eat more, you shit more. It's life. When they eat, they spit everything out through their gills. Their gill plates, because their teeth are located in their throat. That's just how they chew. And I mean, honestly, I don't even know how they get so big, because they spit out so much food. I'm like, what? I don't understand. But this bad boy behind you, I've got a Sun canister filter. I got it from Amazon. I think it was like somewhere around $70. It's rated for 525 gallons per hour. I don't think it's doing that. I think it's probably doing about half that, honestly. Probably doing somewhere around the 200 to 250 gallons per hour, which is plenty for a 75. But I kind of sweetened the pot up a little bit, and I added in a internal canister filter that kind of just polishes the water. It's super clear sitting here, but it looks kind of grainy in the camera. It is what it is, but I promise you it's super clear. I actually do have some pretty good pictures of it on our Instagram page, so please take the time out of your day to follow that. But that's pretty much all we got for you today. We're getting ready to hop out of the tank.
I've been doing this for a few years, like, so I can go like one hand, no hand, I suppose.
Again, just to remind you, like, comment, subscribe. First 5 to do it, get a free t-shirt. The first 100 to do it after the first 5, they get free wristbands. It is what it is. Comment you love Mofo Fish. Follow us on Instagram. I'm out this mother.